Hey y'all, and welcome to this month's market update. I'm Dustin with the Davidson Group at ReeceNichols, and I wanted to talk to you about our local market and what's going on here in our little area versus a few weeks ago when I talked about what was happening across the nation. As we jump in, I'm going to talk about October, I'm going to talk about November, those statistics of 2020 compared to 2019, and really hopefully give you an idea that those national numbers will line up with those local numbers, and give you a pulse and a feel of specific areas like Junction, Webb City, Carthage, Joplin, Seneca, Neosho, Granby, diving into each of these cities, giving you an idea of how they compare, what they look like. So let's go ahead and jump in. Before I get too far though, I want to talk about a term. The term is absorption rate. I'm sure many of you have heard that term before. I'm sure you have a vague idea of what it is, but I wanted to put clarity behind it. An absorption rate specifically is a number of homes sold in a specific time frame in a specific market. So you can really change that number, look at that number in a variety of different ways. But in October, our absorption rate for this year was 3.2. 3.2, what does that mean? The lower the number, the less homes available, right? The less homes that we have to sell. Comparing that to last October, so October of 2019, we were at 4.93, almost 5%, which is a 35% decrease in homes available to you as a home purchaser. So what does that mean? That means that homes sold at a higher rate. You're gonna hear in just a moment, homes sold at a quicker rate, and that's the term seller's market. That's where that term comes from. It's derived from your absorption rate and the availability of homes, again, in a specific market, in a specific time frame. So when we look at the actual number of homes sold in our market, in October of 2020, we had 322, which was a 24% increase of 260 in 2019. So we've sold a quarter more homes in the month of October than we did the year before. It just shows a very, very robust market, especially with all the things that are going on and all the uncertainty that we see on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. When we look at our average days on market, we actually had a higher average days on market, a 109 compared to 91, but our median days on market, so that number that's closest to the middle, that median was actually less by 17%, 58 compared to last year's 70. So that number shows that really when you list your home, it's selling at a quicker rate, closer to the middle, or more of an actual representation of what it is. Now, when we talk about days on market, that's a total days on market. So when you list your home day one, all the way to closing your home and getting your money on the last day, or day 58 in this example. But in that time frame, most individuals or most buyers are getting a loan. You've got title work, you've got loan processing, you've got appraisals, you've got originations, you've got all of these things that have to take place. We're seeing 45, 50 days to not be an uncommon time frame for a loan to be originated and funded. And so when you're looking at that over that 58-day period, you're looking at a week or two on market time, which means it's a very, very competitive market, even as we enter into this late season of the year. When we talk about price, again, I want to focus on the median. So the median price last year was 130. This year, again, we're talking about October, 147, actually north of 147, which is almost a 13% increase year over year. That's incredible. You know, in a typical year, we see a 3 to 4% increase in pricing, the ebbs and flows of our market, right? On the coasts, like we talked about last week, it's more. But to see double-digit growth in a month, that's fantastic. That just shows that we've got a lot of activity out there and a lot of people looking. As we dive in to those actual areas, I want to talk about some specifics. So something that's worth noting, you know, in an area like Carthage, for instance, the average price in Carthage in the month of November, so last month to today, so November 2nd, December 2nd from when we're shooting this, $239,000. We had 16 new properties, 25 pending, and 25 sold during that time frame. You look at Webb City, 169 average price, 40 new, 35 pending, and 30 sold. You look at something like Joplin, which is quite a big market. It's actually our largest. Average price point was 204,576, with a total of 126 new properties. 106 of those are pending, and 90 of those sold. We've got a lot of activity, as you can see, throughout our municipalities. You know, a lot of these numbers are sales and new sales and resales, which is new construction versus a home that was already built. But these statistics are just for residential sales. So I'm not talking about commercial. I'm not talking about multifamily. I'm not talking about common wall or any kind of town. I'm talking about single homes, single family homes. So those numbers do fluctuate when you bring in those other pieces, but by and large, we're a single family market. So I feel like those are the most pertinent statistics to bring to you. You know, when we look at a year to date, so we're talking again, November, the month of November 2020 to the month of November to 2019, our average price point for November, or for the year rather, of 2020 in Joplin, for instance, is 182,970. So you look at the yearly price point versus the monthly price point, you can see that growth of almost 20,000 or a little over 20,000 in that range. So last month's municipality number for average sales price was 172,711. And again, that's for the month, and that's every single town, that's every single municipality. And the average days on market for that entire time frame was 85 days. So as we're looking in a little bit more year-over-year comparison, again, same cities: Carl Junction, Carthage, Granby, Joplin, Neosho, Seneca, Webb City. We've had quite a few active properties this year versus last year. And it feels like we have less availability, but it's because they're entering the market and exiting the market very, very quickly. When we look at those numbers, say for total active properties in Carl Junction, we've had 224 properties active this year versus last year's 267. So that's a 16% decrease. So when you're looking in Carl Junction, yeah, there's actually less homes entering the market. But when you look at a place like Webb City, for instance, we've had 431 properties enter the market this year versus last year's 365. That's an 18% increase. So they balance out, and they average to actually be slightly less at a 1% overall less last year versus this year, 4,496 versus 4,580 or 4,580. But it's not significant. It's not statistically significant in the sense of overall change in the market. Joplin, for instance, is almost tied. 1,808 properties this year versus 1,815 last year. You know, we look at the number of properties that go under contract. Again, those numbers, they're on the rise. You know, we look at Seneca, for instance. Year over year, 47 properties under contract last year. This year, we've had a 17% increase at 55. Granby, the properties under contract for last year were 34. This year we're 39, a 14% increase. You can see in Carthage, we're pretty even. We're pretty flat. Last year we had 265. This year, the new properties that went under contract, actually 3% less than that at 257. So you can see that the numbers, we've still got properties entering the market. We've still got properties going under contract and selling. We've actually had a 7% increase overall total market of properties sold. But we're not seeing a huge decrease in activity. We're just seeing a huge decrease in availability on any given day. So they're entering the market, they're exiting the market. Again, a seller's market. Again, we've talked about this. I just want to give you some of the statistics to really shed light on what that looks like. When we look at sold volume, so the total dollars that have gone, we actually, for the year, and I find this quite surprising, you know, March, April, May, we had a lot of uncertainty. We had a lot of people staying home. We had a lot of people that were furloughed. And so we really thought that this year we were going to come in lower than last year. We've increased our total sales volume as a market by 23% this year. Webb City, for instance, increased by 37%. 37% more total or more volume sold, which is the price point of those homes that have gone up. Joplin, 29% increase. Granby, 31% increase. Seneca, 33% increase. These numbers, these increases that we're seeing, it's just showing that that seller's market is prevalent, and we're seeing that people are still out in the marketplace. Interest rates at the moment are still low. Still a good time to buy, and so right now in this season, November has ended. We've gone through the election, we've gone through Thanksgiving, we've gone through Black Friday. We're now entering in preparation for Christmas. So we're gonna have some shopping, we're gonna have some holiday parties, even though that's gonna look different this year than last for sure. And then leading into Christmas and the new year, there's still time to take action. But if you're a buyer out there and you're thinking about making a decision, but you haven't committed yet, with the increase in builders, with the increase in stability of our market, we're going to see those interest rates. The Fed's going to change their rate, and those numbers are going to raise. Indications aren't going to be high. We're still going to be very competitive versus this time last year, almost 5% to just a little over 3%. So there's still a good rate, but now's the time to act. Right now, there's less competition out there in the sense of buyers, because people are taking a step back if they're not in a position to move or have to move. Sellers aren't wanting to have to put up a Christmas tree and take down a Christmas tree unless they're in a position where they need to make that decision. So really, right now, the holiday markets, it's a good time to be. You're seeing these statistics here. It's not easy. If you're a buyer, it's still one of those where you're up against multiple people in most cases. If you're a seller, chances are you're going to be under contract and looking to move by the beginning of the year. So if you're wanting to make a decision and you're serious about making a decision, the winter market's a perfect time to do it, because the people that are out looking at homes, the people that are calling and making decisions, they're serious. They're doing it because they have to. It's not convenient for them to make these transitions in the middle of so much going on. Covered information here. We talked about our local market. Our market is looking well, and when you look at the statistics versus the national market, we line up very, very well. I'm excited about the direction that we're gonna enter into for 2021. I think we're gonna have some challenges. I think those challenges aren't going to be a market crash. They're not gonna be an interest rate spike to above 5%. They're not gonna be things that we can't work through. They're gonna be inventory shortages that we're working on. We've got a lot of new builders that are really entering the marketplace and trying to provide that home, that mid-level, that entry-level home that people are after. We're going to see a continuation of delayed appraisals, delayed loan processes, because we've got so many people that are still trying to refinance. We've got so many people that are still trying to purchase. Before, when we could close in 20, 25 days, expect 40, 45 days for a closing time frame. These are still challenges and things that we're going to look for, but they're good things. And I'm excited about where we're going. If you got any questions about the market, about the direction of that market, maybe you want to know specifically about your home or the neighborhood of your choice, feel free to reach out. We can have a one-on-one conversation. We can break out the spreadsheets. We can look at them in detail and really give you a sense of comfort and knowing where you're going and what that looks like. Dustin Davidson with the Davidson Group signing off. Look forward to speaking to you again about our market. Have a great day.